Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Samuel, founder of a revolutionary medical sales training and mentorship program called the Medical Sales Career Builder, and I'm also host of the Medical Sales Podcast. In this podcast, I interview top medical sales reps and leading medical sales executives across the entire world. It doesn't matter what medical sales industry, from medical device to pharmaceutical to genetic testing and diagnostic lab, you name it, you will learn how to either break into the industry, be a top 10% performer within your role, or climb the corporate ladder. Welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. And remember, I am a medical sales expert sharing my own opinion about this amazing industry and how it can change your life. Okay, so why don't you tell the audience, Jennifer Jones, who you are and what you do?
Hello there. My name is Jennifer Jones. I am 20 years pharma quitter, quit, left, swore I would never go back, threw myself into entrepreneurship for 7 years, post-pharma, while I was in deep therapy. No kidding, but not kidding. And now I have found myself as a medical device rep with a leading cardiology company, saving lives every single day. I am the mother to 4 little dragons. I have 4 daughters who are now 15, 13, 12, and 10. I have a sweet English bulldog named Scotch, and I've been married to my Canadian husband for about 18 years. He just became a citizen last year.
Amen.
So lots to celebrate.
Yeah, that is fantastic. So, Jennifer, you have a fascinating career.
Thank you.
You started in pharma.
Yes.
And you worked for Purdue Pharma.
I worked for Purdue for a long time.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, she's a special guest because Purdue Pharma, if you guys have seen the show Painkillers, if you guys have seen the show Dope Stick, if you guys have watched any documentary on American Greed or any of these interesting shows or even crime shows, 2020, you've heard about this company that was behind the OxyContin push back in the early thousands and the early teens in the thousands. And Jennifer Jones was working for that company, thriving during that
time.
Top
leader, baby. Top leader, President's Club, over and over. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that's a great place for us to start. You have so much you've done. You've done pharma, you've done wine sales, you have your own coaching company. Now you're working for a company that's focused on cardiovascular treatment. But let's start with Purdue Pharma. So, everybody wants to know from the source.
Right.
What was the beginning like? I mean, were working for, did you join when it was becoming something, or were you already there and it was brought to you?
Okay. So in college, I interviewed to sell, like with Marlboro, selling, like they come around your colleges and they're like, are you ethically okay with selling something like this? And I'm like, I don't know, cigarettes, I don't know. The same thing happened during the interviews with Purdue, but I had not done my due diligence. Here I am just thinking pain management is pain management. Okay.
Sure.
So I had a mom who was really, really struggling with severe back pain at the time. And I watched her through cancer pain, through hospice pain, all of that. And so I felt like I had that in me to be an advocate for pain management patients. But during the interview, they kept asking, are you sure you're okay with this? Like, are you sure you can do this? I'm like, do what? Do what's right, the next best thing for pain management patients. So let me be very clear. I came in after, you guys have heard of the $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 bonuses the reps were paid back in the heyday. I came in after that. It was around 2007, 2008 timeframe.
Yeah. The baseball games and the golf and all that stuff was all coming to a close at that time.
Yeah, exactly. The cruises. And again, for those reps were making major money. We did too, but not to that level.
Right.
So I came in, crushed it, really, really took to heart being an advocate for pain management patients. Because you guys, I'm going to say it right here, they're not all addicts. In fact, most aren't. And I still have that passion inside.
Sure. Sure.
You see a 70, 80-year-old woman suffering with pain, give this woman what she needs so she can play with her grandkids, do all the things. So super passionate about that on a personal level. And had a great run there. And then Purdue closed. So I was on vacation with my family in Mexico. You guys know how layoffs work. You kind of hear the rumblings. You kind of think something's going to happen. Well, this time I did not think anything was happening. I did not hear the rumblings. On vacation with my family, Purdue shuts down. Manager calls me and tells me we don't really exist anymore as a corporation. And, they're going to come get your company car, your computer, all this stuff while I'm on vacation again in Mexico. So didn't see that coming. And then I swore I would never do it again. I'm never going back to pharma again. I don't want to go back to that lifestyle. Went into the entrepreneurial side, which we can go into a little bit, but I never expected that the FBI would contact me, that they would follow me. I never expected that I would do a grand jury testimony, have to hire legal counsel, and for a good part of my life thought for certain that I was going to be wearing an orange jumpsuit simply for doing my job as it was explained to me at the time. Now, I also have to tell you a lot of
Let's rewind. That's
dissect it.
We got a whole 8 years to cover here at your time at Purdue Pharma. So I love what you said about you were literally doing your job, and for those listening, and just to you already know, Jennifer, a lot of our audience are people that want to be in pharmaceutical sales or medical device sales. A lot of our audience are in medical device sales or pharma sales, and a lot of our audience are leading the way. For those of you that want to be in pharma particularly, drugs can be, and devices too. Drugs can be tricky. Devices can be tricky, but drugs can be especially tricky because there can be data supporting what they do at the time. And then there can be data later on that doesn't support it as well at a later time. And you're kind of left holding the bag regardless, especially if you were working for the company, automatically making you an advocate for whatever the treatment was at the time. So let's go back to when you first were introduced to selling OxyContin. Was it just, so when you started selling, it was brand new, right? So everybody was excited to use it?
No, it was
already in motion.
It was, I think it was 20 years old.
Okay.
But what we did something different though. So let me go into what we did differently with OxyContin versus the way it had always been done.
Sure.
So we talked about the benefit of switching from a short acting dosed every 3 to 4 hours to a long acting dosed every 12 hours, Q12H. Okay. So we talked about the benefit of Q12H dosing. There's no watching the clock. You know when to take your next dose. It's easier. It takes the guesswork out of it. And you guys, common sense would tell you that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Especially if you're worried about someone becoming dependent on the medication. You're better to take it twice a day, 8 a.m., 8 p.m., than constantly chasing the pain every 3 to 4 hours. That made sense to me. What I did not know at the time, and didn't know till a lot later after the company closed, that there was a significant amount of data that showed that the drug really only worked Q8 every 8 hours. So when those patients were calling the nurses and the doctors and saying, my pain is back, it's back, and I need breakthrough medications, and now I need more short actings, and this, and this, and this, and this, they're saying, no, it should last 12 hours. So it was almost making the cycle of chasing the pain. And of course, if you've ever been in pain, you want that pain to go away. So I feel like it was almost painting in an inadvertent way those that just wanted to treat their pain from the car accident, from cancer pain. I mean, come on. Right. And then bothering the offices saying it's not really working. And then there's data comes out that it really was Q8, better dosed Q8. And so then it's like, whoa.
So okay. So
yeah,
from the time you started selling it to the time the new data about Q8 came out, how much time transpired?
Oh, I was done with the company was no longer existing.
Was way
so
okay.
I mean, that stuff was hidden. That stuff was in the vault, I'm sure.
I see. So maybe so for the first 4 years, was it, so then when patients started calling saying, hey, it's not working, I need more, was it patient driven? Or was it from your vantage point, were the patients driving this crazy volume of use, or were physicians driving the volume of use?
I think it was the patients asking for it. Again, if you're in terrible pain, you want it to go away. And then what the big issue was, then the physicians start questioning the patient. Well, are you a legitimate patient? And then what I started seeing, which I'm, again, super passionate about, is patients that are more than deserving of the medication who
Right.
more than need it,
Right.
not getting it. Again, my 80-year-old mother is an example. They start looking at her like maybe she's a drug seeker because she swears this isn't working for her lung cancer pain. And she was on a high dose, you guys,
Sure.
high dose.
Yeah.
So then though, what was happening with what should be 2 pills a day becomes multiple pills of other things sprinkled in. And they're just making like a tonic of short actings, long actings, NSAIDs, the whole gamut. And again, so when I'm, doing my grand jury testimony, I'm sharing what was shared with me in training and what was the trainers and the data. And you guys, it went deep. This isn't just like high level. They went deep with this. But now, unfortunately, some of those trainers and marketing directors are literally behind bars.
Wow.
So it's wild for me to know and see people that I interacted with. They're not, roaming free anymore. And so that was the point. And I know you said this is for, pharma and device reps. For pharma reps, I was like, I'm never doing this again. And you may want to edit that part out, but it really scared me to ever get behind truly. Cause between you and I, who knows with like Crestor and Lipitor and all that, there's all this data coming out, weird stuff. So it scared me to ever represent a drug again for that reason. So I said I would never go back. I was the pharma quitter. I'm never going back.
I hope you're enjoying today's episode. And I want to let you know our programs cover the entire career of a medical sales professional. From getting into the medical sales industry, to training on how to be a top performer in the medical sales industry, to masterfully navigating your career to executive level leadership. These programs are personalized and customized for your specific career and background, and trained by over 50 experts, including surgeons. Our results speak for ourselves, and we're landing positions for our candidates in less than 120 days in top medical technology companies like Stryker, Medtronic, Merck, Abbott, you name it. Would you run an Ironman race without training and a strategy? You wouldn't. So why are you trying to do the same with a medical sales position? You need training, you need a strategy, and you need to visit evolveyoursuccess.com, fill out the application, schedule some time with one of our account executives, and let's get you into the position that you've always dreamed of. I get it. So during that time, did you, because it sounds, when you tell it, it sounds like everybody was fine until the law stepped in. Did you already see issues with patients acting like addicts, physicians getting weird? Was any of that going on long before the company closed?
So they would teach you in training, and this happened all the time. If you come up to a clinic and there is multiple cars with different license plates from like different states, if you walked into a clinic that didn't look legit, and there'd be people out the door. So you could definitely spot.
Wow,
You could
they were training the guy on how to handle those kinds of.
But to then call it in, and then someone from Purdue would go and investigate you guys. But it was so obvious. They were not trying. There'd be doctors that would operate out of a lobby of like a medical building. There'd be doctors that would be meeting patients like, come to my car at the Walmart parking lot, okay?
Wow.
So that definitely happened, and we would call it in, and you'd feel really, really good about it. And then they talked about the investigation and whatever. So that was not to say not uncommon, okay? But what I found was more interesting is that doctors that did start to dose it as their patients were asking for, like, give it to me sooner. I need more. Q8. They were honestly super nervous about it because they knew how it should be dosed. And they were nervous to like treat their patients appropriately, for their pain. And so then what started happening is these doctors started prescribing other short actings. So then they start looking like the bad guy. Like, why are you giving this patient all these pills? And my heart goes out to a lot of the pain management doctors who 95% of them just wanted to do the right thing for the patient. And if you go into these offices and you see these patients with cancer pain, it's, my God, give them what they need. Truly. And so I think it gave a lot of doctors with the best of intentions a really bad rap because their patient volume was so high. So their prescribing was so high. And some doctors that I still am friends with today were investigated over and over and over again for overutilization of pain management medication when they were, I believe, doing 100% the right thing and actually the humane thing.
So talk to us a little bit about that. So
Yeah.
when you watch the shows and stuff, and remember,
Yep.
I started in pharma, and I never sold anything like that, but I did in the very beginning. I sold, for lack of a better word, a lot of Me Too products for very
Yeah.
common disease states, right? Like high blood pressure, hypertension, BPH, things like that. And I would come across these internal medicine physicians that they'd call them pill mills because they'd have
Mhm.
such a high volume of patients from writing things like
Mhm.
Oxycontin. And I
Mhm.
remember some of these guys were making just a ton of money.
Mhm.
And and they didn't see what they were doing as wrong. To your point, they thought that they were
Mhm.
doing what they were supposed to be doing, but they were very excited and happy about the fact they were making so much money doing it.
Mhm.
What did that look like from your end? Were you seeing a lot of family practice, internal medicine physicians making so much money from this? And then, what happened to them, that kind of thing. Talk to us a little bit about
So
that.
to be super clear, I really only called on pain management and anesthesiology.
Sure.
So I wasn't going into family practice. And in fact, they didn't really want us in family practice.
Sure.
Definitely didn't want us in pediatrics. That was
Okay.
like a whole special
Of course.
sales force
Of
because
course.
as heartbreaking as it is, there are pediatric patients that need and deserve a product like OxyContin. And I hate
Wow.
that, but it's true.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if we saw family practice, we would typically not call on them, only pain management and anesthesiology. But I can tell you for sure that there were some speakers. If you're in pharma or device, you know what it's like to have a
Yep.
speaker
Mhm.
and who would really highly advocate for these products, our products, and then eventually be investigated simply for suggesting that they were something that a patient might deserve to have. But I know what you're talking about, and I've seen the shows about the doctors getting the huge kickers or the huge
Mhm.
bonuses from Purdue. And I did hear about that happening. It was
Okay.
just before my time. And
I
I'll tell
see.
you, Samuel, one thing that we really did struggle with, and I believe is still a struggle for the pain management folks, is getting the doctors who were hesitant to prescribe an opioid at all to prescribe it for a patient who needs and deserves it. And again, I'm still passionate about that because I know how hard it was. Even my sister had lung cancer, for her to get the right medications that she needed and deserved, because then everyone was so afraid of prescribing even one. Oh, I'm not the type of doctor that prescribes those things. I don't want to touch those things. Those things are dirty. I don't want anything to do with those things.
Right.
And I'm like, here now, and almost like the pendulum swung the
Went
opposite
too far the
way.
other way. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
so now I was like, "My gosh, now we're robbing people who really, really need it." Like, end of life, come on. It's hard to get those
Mhm.
medications.
Mhm.
They're not gonna get addicted at end of
And
life.
and that was all happening before the lawsuits and stuff even started.
True, because everyone was afraid. And so then you'd come across pain management doctors that were procedural only. Okay, and that makes a lot of sense. And so they would go in and do the procedures and the injections, and then give the patient NSAIDs, just take this for a week and then you should be good to go. And so then we ran into there's no med management for these patients because everyone's trying to just, you take them, you take them, you take them.
Right.
So to circle
Right.
back to what you said earlier about what we would call a whale, okay, that's what they were, the whales
Sure.
in the industry.
Sure.
It's almost like they were the only one doing the good work because oftentimes these patients can be tough to manage. Why are they tough to manage? Because they're in pain. So they're
Mhm.
needy and annoying. Why are they needy and annoying? Because they're in freaking pain.
Mhm. Yeah.
This isn't
Yeah.
something like you can skip. Like if you don't take a certain medication, like you're not going to notice. You don't take your pain medication, it affects your life. You're not out for a walk. You're not going to dinner. You're not playing with the grandkids. You're laying in bed seething sometimes.
Right.
So, I mean, I can really speak to both sides of it.
So in the grand scheme of things,
Mhm.
did the physicians, that I guess the whales that really
Mhm.
thought they were doing good work, did they end up protected for the most part and get away unscathed, or are some of
Yeah.
those people behind bars now?
The ones I called on, so in my geography, they're all fine. Now, some of them did move to Florida. I don't think, okay, so in pharma, anyone knows in Florida. Like, Florida's a really unique state. So is Texas, so is New York. So some of them did move to Florida, but I believe all the ones that I called on, because I drive by even now, they're still fine. And part of my heart goes out to them because I can't imagine in this day and age anyone would
Yeah.
want to be a pain management doctor. It's just too risky. And they
Yeah.
trust these patients. I trust these patients, right? You trust these patients, and then this patient ends up stabbing you in the back over something you never knew about. Now, one thing I'd be interested to learn more about is there's all these blood tests now for what opioid is right for you.
Sure.
It's diagnostic lab tests.
Yeah.
I would love to learn more about that because that is
Yeah.
fascinating to me, because truly some people, they take one Percocet and that's it. They are Percocet for life, and it's just in their blood, right? So I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but no, the ones that I worked with are unscathed, but some of them not without a lot. I mean, I've been in offices where the FBI came in and raided the office, took all the files.
Okay, wait, what's
Oh,
up?
for
Okay,
sure.
You can't drop that bomb and not give us a
Oh,
story.
yeah. It was not uncommon, Samuel.
Take it. Okay, fine. Then let me ask you this. Take us back. Give us probably the craziest real life scenario you're part of. Be as descriptive as you can. What was going on? What happened? I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And remember, I have a customized and personalized program that gets you into the medical technology industry as a sales professional, or any type of role for that matter. Become a top performer in your position and masterfully navigate your career to executive level leadership. Check out these programs and learn more at evolvesuccess.com by visiting our site, filling out an application, schedule some time with one of our account executives, and allowing us to get you where you need to be. Stay tuned for more awesome content with amazing interviews on the Medical Sales Podcast.